Hello guys, this is Rito, and today we're taking a look at another few Warcry battle cards. Today we'll be taking a look at Slaanesh and the Slaves to Darkness. Let's have a look at Slaanesh then. First off, we've got the Demonids, then we've got the Fiends, the Seekers, and the Hellstriders. So this is the one Chaos Warband that's actually mixed mortals and demons. All three of the other Chaos Gods have their own factions for demons and mortals. In this case, though, that's obviously very good because only the Hellstriders are mortals in the Slaanesh cards pack, basically. Anyways, let's get started. We've got the Demonids. They deal 3.4 damage per action, which is a lot. This is very good damage for Chaff model, and they get to the highest tier of damage per point value with that, and that's amazing. So that's something we've seen for a few Chaff models because it's relatively easy to get here when you're cheap in points and still do good damage. So we've seen this for the Bloodletters, I think, and the Plague Bearers might have been decent as well, though not in this high category. 2 activations to be killed is honestly not bad either for cheap chaff models like this. So as you can see, this puts her at medium point value for survivability and the top point value for damage. So the Demonids I really like, and they've got a good double ability which allows them to add extra damage on top of their normal attack damage. So all in all, quite good, the Demonids. Then we've got the Demonid Leader. She deals 5.1 instead of 3.4 damage, so a good 1.5 point extra damage. Still very high on the damage per point value. A lot, yeah, 1 activation to be killed more than the other one, and yeah, a bit equal in the point value. Just a little bit worse than the Demonids on this damage per point value, just because she's more expensive. Still not a bad model. Then we've got the Fiends. The Fiends have very good movement. I think they're on 8 movement, which is obviously great. And they've got an ability to pin an opponent in place. They need to be in melee combat to do that. But still, as I've talked about before, abilities to pin enemies and to net them basically are very strong, because you can take opponents out of battles for a turn at least. So like just that battlefield control that gives you is worth a lot. And for example, I've seen people use it to make someone stuck near the sidelines in a turn of combat where it was important to get away from the sidelines, to be more than 4 inches away from the sides, to not get removed immediately. So that's, for example, a way to really capitalize on that ability. Anyways, the Fiends do the same amount of damage Demonids do, which for their much higher point cost obviously is not great. So therefore the damage per point value here is a lot lower. The activations to be killed, though, are very nice. 5 activations to be killed. That's because they have a lot of wounds, even though they're only toughness 3. But having a lot of wounds just makes you tougher to kill. And then, as you can see, the point value there is good. So the Fiends really, they trade their damage for higher mobility. And I guess whether or not you're willing to pay for that is your own choice. But good survivability and good mobility, just not the best damage output. Then you've got the Seekers. The Fiend Leader is basically the exact same. So as you can see, he does the same as the Demonid Leader in terms of damage. And yeah, nothing else really to be said about him. He's just as the Fiend. Then we've got the Seekers. They are basically demons on horseback. So again, not great damage. It's the same as the Fiends. However, they do also get that Demonette ability, which allows them to increase their damage values, which makes them a bit better if you really need to take something down. Also, they've got the higher damage per point value because they are cheaper than Fiends actually. What really drags them down a bit is that they've got the mounted keyword and therefore they can't climb. And as you all know, if you're playing the Warcry standard, the starter set basically, you're going to have a lot of terrain. Yeah, and that's where Seekers are a bit worse. And also they are easier to kill than Fiends and have less activations to be killed. Sorry. Then we've got the Seeker Leader, again 5.1 damage. You can see a real pattern here. All the guys do the same amount of damage basically. For her points, definitely not worth it. Yeah, she's basically like the Fiend Leader, but the Fiend Leader can climb, so I don't really see why you would bring the Seeker Leader here. She's a bit cheaper, that's the only thing though. Then you've got the Hellstriders. Those are the human calf, basically the mortals. Their damage is very low. 2.6 is pretty bad. They are the only models with toughness 4 in this warband, and therefore they are relatively survivable for their points cost. You can see they are amongst the only guys here that are in the best bracket here in terms of point value for survivability, so that's not bad. They've got good mobility, but again, the mounted keyword, so no climbing for these guys. And I think with this pitiful damage of 2.6, they aren't really worth bringing. Then we've got the Hellstrider Leader. His damage is actually the best out of all the fighters in the warband, though again for his points value, probably not worth it. He is the toughest fighter to take down in the warband though, because again he's got a bit of a higher toughness than other leaders. Still nothing extraordinary for his point value though. And then we've got the Hellstrider with Bolas. What's nice about him is that he's got some extra range. He does deal 2.7 damage per activation. Again, pretty pitiful, even worse than a Demonette. Mounted trade, you've heard it all before, so really I don't recommend bringing any of these Hellstriders. I think your better choices are going to be the Demonettes and the Fiends. The Fiends offer great mobility, they are very survivable, and the Demonettes do very good damage for their points cost. And yeah, I think these two models are probably the better ones in the warband. So let's have a look at the Slaves to Darkness. The Slaves to Darkness, obviously Chaos Warriors, Chosens, Marauders. Those are the main things here in this warband. So the Chaos Warriors, there's a shield variant. He deals 4 damage per activation. That is not great at all. And for his point cost, you can see his point value is pretty low there. That's something he's got in common with most shield-bearing units. It takes 4 activations to take him down, which again is not great for his point value. I really don't think bringing this guy is worth it at all. You've got much better options. The shield is always bad. That Games Workshop just prices these guys wrong. They act like the one extra toughness is going to make them amazing. It's not, okay? As you can see, the Chaos Warrior with double weapon actually also takes 4 actions to be taken down by this opponent with strength 4. So there you see how little of a difference the shield actually makes. But the double weapons provide 1.4 extra damage, and this guy is cheaper than the shield variant as well, making him a very good damage per point value. So, and again, his activations, his survivability per point value is also better just because he's cheaper. So, yeah, definitely bring this guy over that guy. Then we've got the Chaos Warrior Leader. He does 7.6 damage, which is one of the yeah, I've talked about this value before. This is a value you see very often for like top tier leader models and so on. So good damage there. Yeah, good damage per point value. It's in the medium category because he's obviously more expensive, but that's fine. Very survivable. actions to be taken down, good point value there. So I like the Chaos Warrior leader, and I like the Chaos Warrior double weapons as well, just not the shield. Then we've got the Chosen. The Chosen, obviously, they hit like trucks. So the normal Chosen with Great Weapon does 7.4 damage, almost as much as the Chaos Warrior leader. That's very good damage per point value. Takes 4 activations to be killed, just like the normal Chaos Warriors. I think he has like 2 wounds more, maybe. Nothing significant at all. Yeah, that's medium for his point value, but yeah, still good model, totally worth bringing. Then we've got the Chosen Leader. He deals a whopping 11.8 damage. That is crazy. This is some crazy damage values. As you can see, even for his points value, that's still amazing. So 7 activations to be killed is also a lot. That puts him in the good tier here. So yeah, you can't go wrong with this model. I think a Chosen Leader is probably a must bring just because he's a very good model, very solid. And you've got the Marauders, the Marauder with Flail. He has a higher range, which is nice about him. 2 damage per action is not a lot. However, as you can see, his points value is so low that 2 damage per action is actually good for his points value. And 2 actions to be killed, again, not great. However, having that 2-inch range, or is it even 3-inch? I think it's 2-inch. The 2-inch range allows him to keep outside of opponent's range, and that will probably increase his likelihood of surviving a bit longer. So I like the Marauder with Flail. Then we've got the Marauder with Shield. And yeah, it's the same story all Shield guys share. The damage is horrible. He's more expensive, putting him to a horrible damage per point value. He doesn't even take more actions to be killed than the normal Marauder. You need to get right in there with him. He doesn't have the 2-inch range, so I think he might be going down quicker than the normal Marauder is. Yeah, totally not worth your points. Marauder Leader again, he's 6 damage per action. That's actually not bad at all. Yeah, good for his point value. 3 actions to be taken down, that's obviously not a lot for a leader, but it's fine for his points. You get what you pay for. I think the Marauder Leader really isn't bad. Then we've got the Marauder Horsemen. The Marauder Horsemen, they are a bit weird because they deal the same damage the Marauder on foot do and only get like a bit of extra movement, but lose the I think they are on 10-inch move, so that's great, don't get me wrong, but they are mounted as well, so they can't climb, which really makes it tough for me to say these guys are any good. So we've got the Horseman with Flail again. I guess you could bring him, at least with the extra range and stuff, you could get away with using him. Yeah, takes a bit more to be taken down, obviously, because the horses give them some extra health. But yeah, for his points, it's a tough call. If you want something mobile, maybe bring 1 or 2 of these and then leave it at that. Then we've got the Shield and the Horseman with Javelin. Both of these are only melee options. I thought the Javelin would probably get a ranged attack, but it did not. It does have a double ability to throw his Javelin and deal a bit of damage that way, but I would have much preferred for him to have an actual ranged attack, which sadly he doesn't. And 1.7 damage would not be great at range at all, but it's definitely not good in melee. And yeah, both of these guys, as you can see, they are in the bottom tier of damage per point value. To me, honestly, they are both never worth bringing. Then you've got the Horseman Leader. At least he's doing 4.5 damage, which is lower than the normal Marauder Leader though. And again, it's more expensive, so yeah, the damage per point value is still bad. 6 activations to be killed isn't bad, but it has to be expected for his point value, so I really don't think any of these horsemen are really worth their cost. And as I said, if you really want something quick, get one or two of the horsemen with flail, but apart from that, yeah, probably dump these guys altogether. So I hope that gave you a good idea of what you want to build with your Slaves to Darkness and Slaanesh Warbands, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.